This is Patrick from FullMetalRock.com. Pleasure speaking with Pete Evick from the band Evick and also Bret Michaels' band. How you doing, man?
Doing great, brother.
Good, brother. Man, tonight, first show, Bret was back.
First show. We weren't sure it was actually going to happen until he was on the stage.
It was fucking awesome, dude. The energy in that show, I've seen it about 5 times, and the energy in this show was fucking immaculate, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I was in it, so it felt like that to me, but I couldn't tell what you guys were feeling or seeing. But it was very magical and emotional for all of us.
Yeah, it was powerful, man. How was it torn? I guess waiting a little time before you toured.
You know, I've been saying to some of my closest friends, in 20 years, I don't want to give my age away, but in 20 years, I've never gone this long without a gig or a show. And it's been 6 weeks since we've been on the stage, and boy, it was strange, man.
So it's been about 6 weeks, first time in 20 years.
Oh my
6
God.
weeks without.
Strangest thing. I mean, luckily, because of that lull, I went in and finished the record. You know, me and Bret work on all the records by ourselves, me and him. But I actually took over and finished while he was in the hospital, and so it was a little odd to finish the last 2 songs without his approval or anything like that being his record. But I mean, me and him have a relationship like that and a trust, and the downtime enabled us to actually do a couple things on the record we didn't think we were going to have time to do.
Cool. And the record's coming out July 6th.
July 6th now, yes.
Yeah. And as far as that, how's that record compared to the other ones?
Compared to the other solo records, there's a lot. You know, we have a couple heavier tracks, and we have, you know, the pop song that Miley Cyrus sings on. And the best thing that we did on this record is, and the new single is going to be a cover of Sublime's "What I Got."
Oh no shit!
And it is the coolest thing you've ever heard. In fact, I'll play it for you on my iPhone right now if you want to hear it. Even though my battery's going to go dead. Bret beatboxing.
What?
You gotta let it get to the one part to see what we did. A little edgier.
Fucking right, man.
You gotta get to the one part, it's great. Hold on. A little like old school American pie part there. So yeah, you get the idea. So we did some of that. We have a track called "Wasted Time" on a new record that is probably my favorite thing that me and Bret have ever written together, and it's probably my favorite thing that has been Bret's solo or my own stuff. It's probably my favorite song I've ever been a part of in my life. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a great track. So
Come from your own band to his band.
Well, I don't know if you know the whole story, but that whole band is my band.
Well, yeah, well, it's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But that band is...
That band is your whole band.
It's just that when we're Evick, I sing. The only difference. Me and that drummer have been together 25 years. So.
Had another guitar player there?
Yeah. There's another guitar player in Evick, and I sing. Yeah.
Okay. So that coming from Evick and coming to now to Bret Michaels' band is it's the same band, but the transition, you're not singing, you're not writing, right. You're not part of the whole. Well, you writing process. But
I write and produce with him and stuff. But you know, I was a guitar player my whole life who turned singer because I couldn't get along with any of my singers. I don't have any real. I love being a front man and I love being a singer in Evick, but my heart and passion. I mean, I'm a Van Halen fan. I grew up wanting to be Eddie Van Halen, not David Lee Roth. You know what I'm saying? So in Evick, I was the singer by default because it was all my music, and I was trying to realize my whole vision. But at the heart of who I really am, I'm a guitar player. So I get the best of both worlds being in both bands.
So was it your approach to Bret Michaels or his approach to y'all?
How it ended up this way?
Yeah.
You know, it's a funny thing is, have you ever seen that movie Rockstar?
Yeah.
As corny as it is, me and the drummer, Chuck, our first song we ever played together in a high school talent show 20-some years ago was a Poison song. right? So we're kind of like that. We being in Bret's band is kind of like our dream. We were huge Poison fans, and so we've known Bret for a long time. And when Bret went out on a solo tour, we were his opening act. Evick was his opening act on the first solo tour, and some things happened, and he because Poison was always a band, and he wanted to do this solo career thing, and then when he took out hired musicians, it didn't feel like Poison, the energy of a band. You know, when you hire a bunch of Nashville cats, they're great players, but there's no chemistry. Yeah. And so, you know, his guitar player at the time, who's still one of his best friends, one of my closest friends, kind of suggested to him that he, you know, just why don't we be his band? And so we tried it once, and to be honest with you, it was a disaster. Because Bret and me, we don't like to rehearse. Once you've done something for 20 years, you don't want to rehearse. And so Bret actually called me, and he goes, "Hey, why don't you just grab your guys and come up, and we're going to do this little radio gig." This is our first gig with Bret. "We're going to do this little radio gig. You know the songs, right?" I said, yeah. He goes, "It's no big deal." We all get there, and it's called the Downtown Hoedown in Detroit, right? 20,000 people.
Holy shit.
That's not a little radio gig to me. You know what I mean? So it didn't work. It just wasn't right? And then I thought that was it. I thought I'd never speak to Bret again. I thought we'd never talk. And the next week he called and he's like, "Yeah, that didn't go that great, but I know you. I know what you do. I know that we didn't rehearse." He goes, "Let's try it again." He goes, "Next week's Memorial Day weekend. I got a gig with Leonard Skinner at the Starwood Amphitheater in Nashville, Tennessee. 33,000 people sold out. And that's my second gig with Bret Michaels." And we nail it. We nail it. It's great. And we shook hands that day, and here we are 5 years later. It's just, he gets the best of both worlds because our band is a fine-tuned band. So he feels like he's playing with a band instead of individual hired guns that know each other. But he gets to step in and just be the leader of it. You know.
And all the guitar, all CC Sports and Poison. You ever talk to CC about?
I talk to CC all the time.
About the playing. I mean, how does he feel about you playing his stuff he wrote?
You know what? I always make sure to make it clear, because a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, you guys did great, and you played those solos great," and it's a great compliment. But I always say exactly what you just said. Thank you, but I'm just emulating. CC wrote that stuff, and CC's a wonderful friend, a wonderful influence. As a kid, I thought he was great, and he's appreciative to it. All the guys in Poison are appreciative to the fact that I'm a Poison fan. I'm not just taking a paycheck playing their music. So it's a neat thing. Because at first it felt weird. It felt like, you know, I was the other woman in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they've all been super nice to me, and you know, me and Ricky did the Larry King thing together, and you know, CC does exactly what he wants. He likes to do Poison out of the summer, and then he does his own solo bands. He does Samantha 7 and all these different projects, so he has no beef, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, well, every time he does his own shit with Poison, he changes it up every fucking show.
Right.
Does,
well, that you know, that's the thing, and the ironic thing about that is that you get half and half. Me as a musician, if I go watch CC over the years, I love watching what he does because he's gotten to be such a better player. He really has. And it's neat to see what he thinks those songs should be like now, or maybe what he would have done 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I like to see that, but there's always the purist fan that enjoys the fact that I basically play those solos note for note from the record.
From the record, yeah.
You know, the ironic thing about it is when I'm in Evick, I do what CC does. I don't play the same thing twice. But so, you know, I said to Bret once, I said, you know, some of the, you know, for all the great players, whether it's Steve Vai or Eddie Van Halen or anything like that, everyone in our genre can hum the guitar solo to Every Rose note for note, right?
Yeah.
You can't hum half the Van Halen solos. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The best band on the planet, you know.